Hello and welcome all to our webinar on designing your print invoice in Busy. Today we are excited to guide you through the process of creating professional customized invoice using Busy, one of the leading accounting software solution. Whether you are a seasoned Busy user or just getting started, this session will provide you with valuable insights and practical tips to enhance your invoicing process. We will cover everything from the basics of setting your invoice template to advanced customization options that reflect your brand identity. By the end of this webinar, you will have the knowledge and tool to create invoices that are not only accurate and compliant but also visible, appealing and reflecting of your business professionalism. Let's get started and take your invoice to the next level in Busy. Firstly, we'll understand the benefits with a scenario, what benefit you will be getting if you are using Busy software. So understand with a simple scenario like say, for example, Kamal is a user of Busy software. He can print invoice as per his own design. But on the other hand, Karan as a XYZ user or a XYZ user of a software can print invoice as per only fixed template. Other benefits that Busy software will provide you in invoice designing, that is to configure image on any position, printing field at any place, apply configurable QR code, that may be a payment gateway code or other information that you need to face on your QR code, increase or decrease of your font size, change font color, make text bold and underline, print invoice in local language. On in the other hand, if anybody is using XYZ software, then there are certain foundations. There may be a single image with fixation positions. Field position cannot be changed. QR code is not configurable. Font size are fixed. Font size cannot be changed and cannot be printed in local language. It can be printed only in English language for XYZ software. So if you are unable to print the invoice as per your requirement like Karan, as I have explained, then don't worry, you will get the solution from Busy software. Replace your existing XYZ software with Busy. There are different types of templates that you can configure in Busy software. You can configure your invoice format in A4 sheet, in A5 sheet, in 4-inch sheet, as well as in 3-inch sheet format also. Now let's see how to design invoice format in Busy. Before going to see the practical options of configuring your invoice format in Busy, let's first understand certain parameters to design invoice format in Busy. So what are the parameters? First, the part of invoice format. So in invoice format, we are having three parts: the header part, the body part, and the footer part that complete the invoice format. Header part basically display the information that include your company name, address, your customers name, address, and other information like parties, GSTN number, your entries or your transaction number, that you can say as the invoice number, the transaction date, and other information like transporter details, place of supplies, and like say for example e-way bill number. So these are all detail of header part. Now in the body parts, it includes all the fields that is related to your items, like say for example if you need to print your item description, if you need to print your item name, your item quantity, your item discount, price, amount. So these are all information that can be faced in the body part. In footer part, you can pick the other informations like the terms and conditions, your banking details, your signature details. So this will completely help you to design your invoice format in full phase. So you need to understand these three parameters. This is the basic thing that will help you to configure your invoice format as per your need: the header part, the body part, and the footer part. Let's see practically in Busy screen. First, let me share a simple tricks that will help you to make this task quite easier for you. The tricks is that if you are going to implement or if you are going to customize your invoice format for the first time, then you can do one thing. You can go to administration configuration, you can go to invoice document printing, you can enable the standard options, sales invoice. Here you will find many information that you need or you no need to print in your format. So You can enable or disable as much as features you need to get print on your invoice format. It may be in standard format or it may be in advanced designing format. If you need to enable the logo, you can enable the logo. You can select the logo field from here, the logo path from here. If you need to get other party details get printed in your standard invoice as well as in your advanced invoice, then you can enable these options called print party details. You can click on this three dot button to get other information to be get printed related to party. Apart from this, if you need to print in full page, you can enable these options called full page. If you need to print your billing and shipping detail, you can enable these features. If you need to print the invoice in landscape mode, in landscape format, then you can enable these options. If you need to print the page number for multiple page invoice, that means if your invoice is getting continuous in the next page, you need to print your page number in the multiple page invoice, you can enable this option. So from here you can enable or disable the features that you need to get it print or not to be get print in the invoice print format. Okay, so once you've done do this configuration from here, now if you need to load this default configuration in your advanced invoice, then you can go to advanced invoice options. Then you create a format name. Let's say I create a format name with any format name. I'm typing that, for example, I'm typing a sample invoice. Now if I select this option called sample invoice, I will get three options like header, body and footer that I've explained in the PPT. So if you click on this header part, and here you will get an option to load the default format in your advanced design, the default standard formats. So if you click on this load default, you will find these options coming. If you need to load the default coding of your local invoice, or you need to load the default coding of your central invoice, or both. If I select local, then I will get the columns, the GST column as per my local structure. That means if I click on the preview options, I will get the header informations get printed, or the header coding will get captured from my standard invoice in my advanced design. You can see as I've selected local, that's why my columns has created CGST as well as SGST. Okay, so if I select both, then here I can also get another column called IGST along with CGST and SGST. Okay, so now this is the easiest tricks to get an idea to configure the invoice format. You can get all the fields get picked from your standard invoice. Now you can do any kind of customizations over here. You can remove any field. You can create any field, or you can pick any field from this field available button. You can get the field. If you need to pick a field related to party, you can pick the field from here also. So you have to just click the cursor on the position where you need to pick the field. So this is a simple trick that will help you or will guide you to do the customization of your invoice format. Coming on the next slide, that is invoice format customization. So now we will be discussing about the type of field. So there are two type of field. One is static field and another one is dynamic field. Okay, static, or you can say the fixed field, and variable field. So what is fixed field, or how we can assume that this field is a fixed field or it's a variable field? Let's say, for example, it's written over here tax invoice. So this tax invoice, I have typed it and it's a fixed field. It's not coming from it's not picking from any database. I have already typed over here as a tax invoice. I type this as tax invoice. So this field is defined as my fixed field. Whatever field I'm going to type and which will be get printed in every invoice, that is a fixed field. And how I can define this as a fixed field, I will mention this arrow sign over here, and I will also close this arrow sign after typing the field. Once I type this field, I will close the arrow sign over here, and then I will mention the comma sign, and I will put the characters. If I want to print 11 characters, let's say for example this tax invoice belong to 11 characters, so I will mention character, and this C means the position, the left position, the right position, the center position. So if I mention C over here, that means it's a center position. It will get print in the center. If I click on this preview button, I will get to see the tax invoice preview in my screen. It's coming on the center line in my A4 page. Okay, so this underline is coming because I have mentioned this a command called ult off. If you need to pick this kind of command like underline text, this is known as underline text. So you can get this field from this print style. If you click on this print style, you can get this option called underline text. So if you select any of the command from here, you have to select the off command also. Let, for example, if you have mentioned this as, if you want to underline this field, let's say for example, if I click on this load default once again, and right now you can find this tax invoice is coming in this screen in this coding format. Now if you say that I want to underline this field, then I have to put the command called underline text on, and then I have to close the command also. So I have mentioned the underline text on over here. Let's say for example I remove this underline text on and off. Now if I want to see the preview, see the underline has been removed from this tax invoice. Now if I want to select the underline once again, I can click on this print style option. From here I can select this option called underline text on. If I select this underline text on, and then I have to close this command. Once I open this command, I have to close this command after the field that I am typing or I am picking from the data field. So I have to put the cursor after this field, and then I will click on this print style and I will select this option called underline text off to get the command completed. So if I click on this preview right now, I can see that a borderline, or you can say a underline is showing under tax invoice field. Okay, so this is the concept of a fixed field. That means it's a fixed field because we have mentioned this field under this arrow sign over here, so it will define as a fixed field. Now how we can understand what is what are the variable field? Let's say for example you have picked this field, see company address 4 line 1. So this is not a fixed field because I have not mentioned this symbol over here. So it's not a fixed field, it's a variable field. And how could I get this field? I get this field from this field available. I go to company, and from here I pick this field, company underscore add, that means address 4 line 1. So this is the line 1 address. So this is known as the variable field because I am picking from the field available option. I'm not typing this field. So this is how we can verify or how we can understand what is the fixed field and what is the variable field. Coming on the next slide. Now here you will get an option that is whenever you're going to customize your invoice format, you will be getting certain font characters. You are getting this font like normal, CPI and condensed. What this normal means? Let's suppose for example you are going to configure your invoice in E4 page or in E4 sheet. Now normal means you can use 80 characters in single row. That means for example this is a row where, or you can say this is a row where you can use 80 characters, or you can say 80 characters it can be print on this single row in A4 page. For example, if you are using normal font. Okay, now if you are using this CPI on font, then this 80 character can be increased to 96 characters. That means if you remove this CPI on, then it will be, then this coding line will be defined as your normal font coding line. And here what will happen, if you see the preview, if you find out that this coding line is more than 80 character, let's say for example the coding line is going to be 90 or 95 character, then in the right side your print may be cut or it may be overlap. Once you are going to print your invoice, you will be seeing that your right portion is getting cut or it's not getting printed in your proper page. So this issues may appear, so you have to check out. Mostly we configure design in CPI on mode. Okay, to get the format printed in a proper page, we use this command called CPI on. This is so that you can use 96 character in each row. it should not get cut from the right side. Condense will also help you to use more than 96 characters in a single row. That means, for example, let's analyze with an example. Let's suppose in this design, what you see that in this line is written CPI on. I have picked the GSTN number of my party, of my customer. So this is a variable field. I have picked this party GSTN number from this field available option, and this GSTN number I have typed over here. So this is a fixed field. Now this complete row is under 96 characters. Okay. So my concern is that if you are using CPI on, then you are allowed to use 96, maximum 96 character in single row. More than 96 may arise a issue on printing your invoice, right? Let's say for example, your right side will get cut as it was showing previously in my preview. Now, when we can use this condense on mode, when we will see that we may be having multiple columns, like say for example, if you click on this preview options, you may be having this column: descriptions of goods, HSN code, quantity, unit, list price, discount, CGST rate, SGST rate, CGST amount, SGST amount, and amount. Now this is on condensed mode. That's why it's coming on proper position. It's not exceeding my preview. It's not exceeding my page. The right portion is not exceeding. Okay. Now let's say for example, to understand it, if I remove this condensed line on from here, and if I use this CPI on over here, if I click on this preview, you can see my line is getting exceeded. My CGST column is getting exceeded from the right side. It's not coming in proper position. So if you find out that your columns, there are multiple columns, you need to face that column in A4 page. So for that you have to define in condense on mode. So you have to remove this CPI on and you have to use this condense on over here. You can use the copy paste option over here also. It's a complete Windows based software, so you can use this copy paste from any field. You can copy and you can paste on anywhere else. Okay, so once I change it to condense on mode, then you can see my multiple columns will come in proper position. Now you can see my position is proper. So all the columns are coming in proper position. It's not exceeding the right side. So this is, you need to understand why or when you can use the normal mode, when you can use the CPI mode, and when you can use the condensed mode. You can use the condensed mode when you will find that there are multiple columns that need to be print in my A4 page. I can use the condensed column to make it compress. Okay. And if you find that there are limited columns, that for that I can use CPI on, so that my columns can be placed properly in A4 page. So there are limited columns. Let's say for example, there may be a 2-3 columns. Like say for example, there may be a serial number, description, there may be a list price, a discount column, the rate and the amount. So this 4 or 5 columns is available, or I need this 4 or 5 columns, so I can use CPI over there. So if the column exceed, I need to understand, or I can get the understanding while clicking on the preview button. If I see that my right portion is getting cutting off from my print preview, then I can use this condense on mode to get it compressed. Okay. So here we got to understand about when we can use normal mode, when we can use CPI on mode. Okay. So once again, one more thing, if you use this condense on mode, then you have to close this condense off also after that line get completed, because in every field or in every row you can see that if I use this command CPI on, I have also used this command called CPI off after completing the row. So it is mandatory to do this, otherwise your design may not be coming properly. So if you are using any command, you have to close that command after that row or after the particular field. Okay. Next, coming on the font. The font, that means you can use font 18 to maximize your character. That means to maximize your font size. For example, if you are going to maximize your field. That means you have picked the field called company name, and you say that my company name field should come in I need a 18 font so that it should display in a big size. Okay, so if you need to see or you need to maximize the size of this field, you can use font 18 or you can use font 15. How this field will be you can get this from print style. So all the fields that related to font, underline, the CPI on, CPI off, the condense on, the condense off, these are all part of print style field. You can press F4 button, it's a shortcut key to pick that field or pick that command. Okay, so now let me load the default format once again. Now, as I was discussing about the font, now if you select font 18, if you see the preview, you can see my company name, that is called I can show you from the transaction level. Let's say I save this format. I also click on the body part and I click on this load default option and I save this. And I also click on this footer part. I click on this load default options and I save this. So my invoice format, if I'm going to load the standard format in my advanced design, then my invoice format is completed right now because I've loaded the header part, the body part, as well as the footer part. Okay, the footer part is also coming. Now, just a scenario, let's say for example, if I'm going to print any invoice, let's say I select the sample invoice, click on this preview option. Now you can see in this screen that the company name is coming as, for example, is coming as a basic concept of document design. My company name is basic concept of document design, for example. Now my font is coming in big size. If I want to reduce this font size, I can use font 15. Okay, or I can use CPI on also, or you can use normal font also. That means, for example, if I let's see the difference what happened if I change the font. If I mention this as font 15, okay, except 18 I mentioned this font 15. I also mentioned this font 15 off because I have enabled this font. I have to close this font also. So now if I save this, now what the difference come, let's see in the preview. Sample invoice, if I click on this preview, you can see my font has been slightly get smaller from the previous one. Okay, so in this way you can change the font of your invoice or in your invoice for a particular field also. Other font like for example data font, that means if you want to pick some font theme that you use in Words or in Excel. Let's say for example, if you need to print this company name in Times New Roman font or in Algerian font. For example, if I select this, if I click on this print style, okay, and now I want to use this data font. So if I press enter over here, it's coming by default, it's coming as Courier New. My font theme is coming Courier New. If I want to copy any of the font from my Words, let's say I want to use this font, this Algerian. So if I copy this from my Word and I go to busy and simply remove this Courier New, it's coming between the column. I can paste over here Algerian. Okay, now data font on I have enabled. I have to use this called data font off also. So I remove this font off field and I will go to print style and I will select this option called data font off. Okay, now if I save this and I want to see the preview how it show my company name, you can see my font has been changed. My company name font has been changed over here. So this is the concept of using font in your invoice for your field. Okay, coming on the next slide, that is type of line. Now we will discuss about the type of line. There are two type of line. One is called vertical line and another one is called horizontal line. Okay, so under vertical line we are having certain commands, or you can say command like busy line BLVA, that means busy line vertical auto. A means auto cut, and BLVF means busy line vertical full. What is the difference between this auto and full? Let me show you practically. For example, in your invoice, let's say this is a A4 invoice format. Okay, I have designed over here. I'm going to click on the header part. Now you can see this command has been used in this invoice. This BLBA, busy line vertical. Vertical means this line. If I show you in the preview, the line that is coming between description of goods and HSN/SCC code, the line. This is called vertical line. And now it's showing a auto. Auto means it will get compressed as per the need. That means if in the second row you have typed another coding in the second row, and in the first row you have used this broadline vertical auto, then it will get compressed. If I mention it as full, if I, let's say for example, if I remove this coding BLB between this let's say I remove this BLB coding between description of goods and HSN and SSC. If I click on this preview, I remove this from here also, because HSN is written on the in this row and code is written on the second row. Now I remove from here also, I remove from the upper row also. If I click on this preview, now you can see there is no line coming between description code and HSN code. Okay, so this is called BLB, busy line vertical auto. Auto means it will be automatically get compressed, the line will get automatically compressed up to the next row till where I need it to be get compressed. Okay, if I mention it as full, for example, if I mention it as full, then what will happen? Then it will get continue. Then this line will get continue for full page. Then the line will get continue for full page. It will not get compressed, or it will not get compressed as per my need. It will get covered the whole page. The line will get covered in the whole page. This is the difference between BLB A and F. F, it will get in full, the line will get draw in full, and A means the line will get draw, or the line will get compressed according to the coding related to the row. Okay. Next, coming on the horizontal line concept. So in horizontal line, there are different commands like busy line horizontal A. A means here also auto cut. As I shown you the vertical line concept, let me show you the horizontal line concept. So horizontal line means this. That is BLHF. This is F means the full line. It will completely cover the line between the row. If I remove this, for example, let's just assume this is in the upper row. It has written as reverse charge. After reverse charge, I am removing this code BLHF. What will happen? If I click on this preview, broad, or you can say busy line horizontal F. So you can see that after reverse charge and between the reverse charge and the billing to, the line has been erased. There is no line showing. That will defer the reverse charge and bill to box. Now if I need to place a line between this reverse charge and bill to, how I can do it? Then I can use this option called BLHF. I can simply type over here. I can copy from any of the field or from any of the options where I have already used this code, and can use this command once again over here also between reverse charge and bill to option. Now if I click on this preview, what it will show a line, a border line has been appearing in the above bill to option and between reverse charge and bill to. Okay, so you will get a individual box for bill to and shift to, an individual box for the reverse charge, invoice number, GRN number, and stations. Okay, now here F means full. If I mention R, what R means? R means it will get, the line will get print in the from the right side. Let's see, if I click on this preview, you will see a a line will get print on the right. So you can see the line is not touching the border line. It's getting print from the right side. Okay. So if I mention L, that means left. The line will get print from the left side. So the right border will not get touched. Okay, you can see a line is getting touch on the left side of the border, but is not completely coming full and it's not touching the right border also. So this is the difference. Now if you want to increase this left side, so you can use this field called blank space. If you click on this field available, you click blank space and you mention certain character. Let's say I mention 30 characters. Between this comma I mentioned 30. Now after this 30, this broad line horizontal left line will get print. So what will happen? Let's see the effect. If I click on this preview, I can see the line is exceeding from the left side. If I want to touch this you can say the vertical line, then in that case what we can do, we can increase the blank space slightly little bit. If I mention 35, then it's getting exceeding, it's coming on the right border, it will touch this border. Let's say I increase this up to 43 for example. Now you can see it has exceeded. So I can, after seeing the preview, I can reduce the character of blank space. I can mention 40. So now let me check whether it's coming proper position. It's exceeding still. So I changed up to 38. If I click on this preview, you can see it's coming over here. If you can mention 39, 39 will be proper in this case. See, now it's touched. So you can create a box. If you want to create a box from the left side, if you need to create a box from the right side, then you can use this command. You can use BLHL to create a box on the left side. You can use BLHR to create a box from the right side. And you can use this blank space to adjust the box. Okay, so this is how you can use this busy line horizontal auto cut or busy line horizontal full. It's full auto, as I say, it will get compressed automatically. I have shown the left, as I also have shown the right options. So you can use the left and right options to get configure in your invoice design. This L means left, R means right, F means full, and A means auto line. That means that will get compressed according to the need of. If in the second row there is a coding written, then it will come up to or it will get compressed according to the next row. It will not get print in the entire page. Basically, the concept says. Now coming on the next slide, that is the other important fields. Now if we get to know other important fields that we can use in invoice format designing, that is blank space. As I show you how blank space will help you. Blank space will help you basically to set in a proper position, whether you are going to set your line, whether you are going to set your field. Let's say for example, you can see over here that here also I have taken this blank space, and R means I have mentioned it in the right side. From the right side, the blank space will exceed or increase, just to, you can say, just to set the position properly. Like say if I'm going to see the preview over here, I can see that the blank space helped me to set the position of my serial number. The descriptions are good. Right now you can see that the position has been discreted. Why? Because I may be not using the proper blank space, or I have not mentioned the proper blank space. Let's say if I mention blank space of 4, 5, let's see the effect. Now you can see my HSN code which was coming double line, it has been rectified. Now this blank space will help you to set the position of your first row and your second row, you can say. Or you can say blank space will help you to set the position of your field. If you need to print the field below that line or below that fixed field or variable field, then you can use this blank space. This blank space will help you to set the position of that particular field. Okay, field, or you can say line. Bold. Now if you need to print your field, or if you need to print your field in bold mode, that means you can use the field called, if I need to print my invoice number in bold, then I can use the print style called bold on. So if I need to print this invoice format in bold on mode, then I will select bold on. I will place the cursor after before the invoice number field, and I will pick the bold on field. And then if I need to close this field, I just want to bold my fixed field, that is the invoice number. So this is my fixed field because I've used this sign. So this sign will identify you that this is the fixed field, and this is the variable field. I have picked this voucher bill number from my field availability, which is over here, field availability. From here I click on voucher headers because it's a part of voucher header. So from here I pick this voucher field. So I got this field called voucher bill number or bill date, that is available over here, voucher bill number. Okay. Now here you can see that if I want to use this invoice number as a bold field, then I can use bold on. Now if I only want to bold my invoice number, which is fixed field, not the variable field, then I can click the cursor after the fixed field get completed, and I can click on this print style. Once again I can select this bold off. As I said earlier, that once you select the command, you have to close the command also for that particular field or for the particular row. So this is a process through which will help you to design your format in a proper and a better way. So if you click on this preview, you can see that my invoice number, which I have mentioned as my fixed field, this field will get print in every invoice, whether the invoice number is available or not. This invoice number word will get print in every format. So this is a fixed field. I make this field as bold. Okay. Same way, if I need to continue this bold for my variable field also, then I can simply remove this, or I can press Ctrl X to or I can remove this bold off from here, and I can use this bold off at the end of the row over here. If I need to bold the entire row, I can use this bold off over here. If I click on this preview, then you can see that the entire row, the invoice number, the GRN number, the variable field also has been get bold. Okay. Now coming on the next important field, that is italic. If you need to print the invoice in italic mode, or if you need to print the field in your invoice in italic mode, I can use the italic field also. If I remove this bold on field and I pick the italic field from print style mode, the italic on, I said italic on I want to use, and I want to use italic off also for this particular row. Italic off. If I click on this preview, you will find the entire row is coming in italic format, or you can say italic font. The invoice number, the GRN number is coming in italic font. Next field, that is underline. As I explained earlier, that you can mention underline for each and every field. If you want to set an underline after the field, that means if you need to underline after your print name of your company, so you can use this print style called underline on. Underline, there are two type of field, underline and underline text. What is the difference between these two? Underline, that means if you have used, let's suppose you have used 14 characters, then the line will exceed to 14 characters. Okay. And underline text on, that means it will get underlined up to the text. If the text is showing tax invoice, so up to tax invoice the line will exceed, not more than that. Okay, so this is the concept of underline text on. It will get underlined up till text mode. And this UL, that means it will exceed if you have mentioned 14 character. That's say for example, if you have mentioned 53 in company print name and you are using this underline option over here, you click on this print style. If you mention underline on over here and you mention underline off and you have used this 53, you have mentioned 53 character, that means you are using 53 character space over here. So it will get, the underline will get exceed up to 53 character space. If I click on this preview, then you can say the line is exceeding. Okay, let me show you in the invoice preview format. If I save this, coming on the invoice, you can see the line is exceeding, but the text is written Busy Infotech Private Limited. It's not coming according to the text. The line is exceeding, it's coming according to the character, the size. I have mentioned 53 for this field, company name Busy Infotech. So it's, the line is exceeding up to 53 characters space. Okay, so if I want to mention this underline text over here, if I use the command called underline text, then it will come as per the text. Then the line will come in the proper position. ULT, if I mention T over here, and also I mention ULT over here, and I save this. If I see the preview, I can see it will coming on the text mode. Okay, so line has not been exceeding much as it was exceeding previously. Similar way, if you want to set a color, if you want to mention certain color for that particular field in your invoice, if you want to print the field in a color mode. So let's say for example, if I go to sample invoice, if I click on this header part, if I want to print this company name in color mode, so I will click on this print style option. I will select this option called color on. Okay, so now color, here you can see, get the color code from here. If you click on this pick color, I can get the color code. If I want to print in this color, I will double click over here, press OK. I can get the color code. I will copy the color code and I will put the color code over here. I will remove this 0 and will paste this color code after color on, and I will also get it close. So I will click on this print style and will use this color off mode for closing the code. If I click on this save button, if I go to see this preview, let's say I remove this data font because I am going to use color mode in this field, so I can't use the data font on along with the color code. So I remove this data font on over. Now if I save this, and if I want to see the invoice on this sample format, so you can see the company name has come in color code. Okay, so this is how you can mention your field, or you can define your field in color mode also. Images, as I show you in standard invoice, also you can pick the image path, and it's a better trick that once you pick the image path in your standard invoice and you go to advanced invoice and you set this as load default, you click on this header part and you mention this as load default, then your standard image path will reflect on your advanced invoices coding also. Like you can see this image path has been defined over here. If you need to pick it manually, you can go to print style, you can get the image, you select this image, and now it's asking you to mention the path. So here the path will be this path, the path where I have kept the image. So this is my image path. Okay, so I will, up to this I will put the part. Okay, sorry, up to this I will put the part. Then one is the size of my image, the height and width of my image. Then I will mention over here the height and width. So if I mention my image part will be, height will be 1 and width will be 1 and path will be this one where I have mentioned the image or I have kept the image. So this is my image path. So if I want to do it manually, I can put the path over here. Okay. So in this way you can define your image path. You can pick the image and you can define your image path over here. Okay. So it's the easiest way. If you need to pick this image path coding, then you do one thing, you can go to standard invoice, you enable this print image option and you select the proper image path over here and you click on load default in advanced invoice to get the image path directly get defined in your advanced invoice. You no need to put the part manually in that case, or your task will get easier. New line, half line, quarter line. So new line, half line, quarter line means if you need to create a new line after a different after the row gets completed, if you want to define a new line. So if you want to define a new line in the footer part, let's say for example, you can use this new line coding. Let's say for example, after this before authorized signature, you want to set a new line. You click on print style and you mention this as new line. New line will completely create a new line over here before the authorized signatures. It will define a new line. Okay, now if you select half line over here, it will also get it print. A half line will get print over here. So for getting the half line, you can select this half line. Last line means it will get print the last line. Up to that line it will get print. Quarter line, that means quarter means the half or 1/4 of that line. So you can print the quarter line, the 1/4 of that line will be defined as a quarter line. Okay. Next, that is the paper cut, semi and full. Paper cut mostly needed if you are using any dot matrix printer or if you are using any thermal printer. You need to set a code that after the invoice get print from that position, my paper it should come on the paper cut position so that I can cut the paper from that position. Okay, it should not exceed or it should not get continued. So you can use this command called paper cut. You can get this from print style also. The paper cut full, if you want to fully paper cut the paper, you can select paper cut full. If you mention paper cut semi means from the right and left the paper will get cut, or you can say compress. So you can, if you use this command called paper cut semi. Next is the QR code. That means if you need to set your QR code, that may include your payment gateway or your other information like if you need to scan, that can include the party name, that can include the invoice number, the e-way bill number. So you can use QR code. So how you can design QR code in your invoice format, in your tax invoice format? First, what you have to do, you can create an add format over here with any name. Let's say for example, I have created a format name called QR, and if I need to get the payment gateway defined in this QR format, and I need to get it defined in my footer part, I go to footer and I will mention the payment gateway, that the UPI detail. If I put the UPI detail over here and I mention the format as QR and I save this, and I will use this QR in my actual invoice. Let's suppose my actual invoice is invoice A4 and I want to pick the QR in my footer part of this invoice A4. So I will go to footer and then I will select the field called QR. If I need to print the QR over here, for example, if I need to print the QR in this, so you can see I have picked the QR. Let's say I remove this field once again, I pick this field. I click on this print style and I will select this option called QR code. So it's asking to put the format name. What format name? That I have already created with the name called QR, where I have mentioned the payment gateway. So I will mention QR, that with this format name I have already created a format. So I'm using this QR format in my actual invoice. So QR F equals F colon, this is the QR format name I'm mentioning. And once I save this, if I want to see the preview, it will show me the QR in my bottom line. Okay, so if I go to see it from the invoice format, from the transactions also, if I click on this preview, okay, you can see here my QR is coming. If I scan this, it will simply face it to my payment gateway. Okay, if the customer scan, then the customer is going to get the payment gateway from this QR. You can type this, you can write these options scan and pay also in your invoice. Wherever you have picked this QR, under that QR you can mention or you can type this information called scan and pay. As I have mentioned, let me show you where I have mentioned or I have typed this option called scan and pay. I have typed this option over here, scan and pay, and this is a fixed, it will come. I've mentioned this symbol, so it's a fixed field. So I've picked the QR in this row and I've mentioned the scan and pay options, or I write the scan and pay on this row. So it depends. You can write over here also, in this row also, where whatever position you want to type or you want to preview or you want to print, you can get it or you can do it. Now this is how you can configure your QR. Apart from this, if you want to pick other information in your QR, let's say for example you don't want to give any payment gateway, you want to pick certain fields in the QR. So in that case you can do one thing. You can also pick not only payment gateway, you can, if you need to pick the invoice amount, if you need to pick, if you remove this payment gateway and you say that I don't want to pick the payment gateway, I just want to pick the related field, I need to pick the party field or the bank account number. Once anybody scan the QR, they will be getting my bank account number. So you can pick all these variable field also or as a QR information. Okay, so this is how you can configure your invoice format in Busy. Now let me show you some sample format. Like say you can see I have designed many format, A5 size format. If I show you in this in the preview, A5 size, if I show you in the preview, if I click on this preview options, you can see it's coming on the A5 format. This is a format where if you are going to put the A4 page in your printer, and if you just make it half of your A4 page and you put it on a in a portrait mode, then you can get this A5 format in this way. So for that you can, if you are going to generate your A5 format, you can go to page settings, and from here you can mention your header line, your footer line, your body line. You can use this header, body and footer line to configure it in A5 format. And also if you want to get it print from your different printer, your DOS printer, your Windows printer, you can select the print style from here also. Let me show you a DOS format also. So in DOS design, what I have done, this DOS design, I have mentioned this as my print style as DOS, and I have selected DOS simulation as Epson or HP, whatever DOS simulations I want to select. If I want to see DOS format, if the invoice I'm going to see in DOS format, so this will basically help you to print your invoice format from different types of printer. If you may be using thermal printer, you may be using DOS printer, so you can configure your invoice. You can create multiple invoice as per your printer. If I show you in DOS mode, the detail will come in DOS mode. Okay, or you can say dot matrix mode. Okay. Similar way, if I want to print in other format, like say for example, I want to print in half page of my A4 page, I can get in half page mode also. Okay. So for half page, what I can do, it's a simple process. If you are going to configure your invoice in A4 page, go to just page setting, and you can disable this option called this eject use full body space. You can disable this. If you disable this, then it will be configured as a half page. Just you need to reduce the body line, because in half page we just need to capture total 34, maximum 34 line, which include the header, body and footer. That means This header plus body plus footer should not exceed more than 32 or 34. Then it will come on half. And in case of A4, this header, body and footer should the total should not exceed more than 60 or 61. For A4, the total header, body and footer will be, the total of header, body and footer should be 60 or 61. You can, if you add this 28 plus 22 plus 11, you will find that it's not exceeding more than 70 line. Okay, so this is the concept of configuring an invoice in A4 page and in half page. For slip, if you are going to print in thermal format, then you can get it print in a thermal format also. You can get to see the slip format, you can get it in the slip format mode also. If I show you in slip format, mostly retail industries may use this format. If you're running your retail business, you can use this format called slip 3-inch or 4-inch. So it remains by default in the in busy. Once you are creating a fresh company, your slip 3-inch or 4-inch format will get created automatically. Okay. Also, let me show you some industry specific format. If I'm going to design format for my school organization, then I can configure in this way also. I can change the field name. Let's say, for example, I'm going to configure this format in this way. If I show you in the preview, you can see this defined as a mark sheet, the student name. I can simply change the field name. I can simply rename the field name, the variable field I can pick, and the fixed field name can be renamed. Whatever name I want to mention, I can mention in the fixed field mode also. For the garment retail, if I show you, in garment retail, you will find this format in this way. You can get in this way the description, the size, under the size the quantity will appear, the size, the small size, the color, all this column you can create from this advanced designing. So you can if I show you in the advanced tool, here you can see that I have changed this fixed field name. If I go to header, you can see I have not mentioned this as description of goods. I have renamed this as I can rename this description of goods to item also. If I mention this as item, the description of good can rename as item. Similar way, I can rename other field also over here. So fixed field can be get changes, and like size, color, these are all features that you can get in busy if you are going to implement or you are going to use busy in garments industry also. So that field can be picked from the field available option in advanced tool, and fixed field can be renamed as per the need of the industry. So that's all from my side.